The Lord be with you. It's another fairly blustery fall day with lots of sunshine, but it continues to be brisk. Behind me, you can see these trees starting to show beautiful colors. We love to see them outside the windows of the sanctuary. And this tree in particular is the glory of it's not our tree, it's on the neighbor's property, but it is an absolutely glorious tree. And you can just see the tops of the leaves beginning to turn colors. In about a couple of weeks, it'll be glorious. But we're a little behind on our short sermons because the texts have been challenging. 2 weeks ago, we heard about Jesus' teaching on divorce. I'm not going to summarize that for you because it's very challenging, and I think we came to a good understanding about it together, that the church had misused or perhaps even abused those words of Jesus over the centuries. And please do look at our website under worship on the link for sermons, and you can see the conclusion that we came to about how that teaching invites us to consider men and women as equals. And this is really Jesus's message there. And this past week, we heard the wonderful story about the rich man who came to Jesus wanting to become a disciple, and Jesus telling him that he could only do that if he was to give up all his possessions and sell all his possessions and give the money to the poor. And he was grieving for his inability to do this. And I wonder if it might not have been simply because he wanted to achieve the status of becoming a follower, just like he had achieved worldly status in amassing all these possessions. And when he realized what was being called of him to be able to do that, he could not manage it. So that, I think, made him really more sad than the idea that he would have to sell his possessions. So what is the message for us? Is that we cannot give away all our possessions and give the money to the poor, sell our possessions and give the money to the poor, much as we might be motivated to do that. We talked in worship about the desert mothers and fathers of the 4th and 5th centuries who did just that. They were so possessed with the idea of becoming true disciples, and they understood what that was, that they did sell all their possessions and move into these caves where they lived remotely in the desert. And their wise sayings and teachings that they came to understand by these very strict practices of fasting and praying still are with us today in wonderful collections. But what we can do is we can live as if these possessions that we own, our homes, our cars, our watches, our necklaces, whatever it is, as if they have no power over us. So we need to keep a certain number of things in order to make sure our families can live comfortably, but we don't need to be possessed by the idea of getting more of them or letting the idea of possessions control us. I think a lot of what is wrong in the world today is people fall into the trap of thinking they're powerful and then using that power to oppress others and to make others seem lower than they are. And this is the true understanding of humility, is not so much lowering ourselves beneath others, but considering that we are all equally beloved in God's sight. So if we can make sure not to let our cravings and disputes that tempt us into confrontations with people control us, and not let our material wealth or possessions, maybe not even wealth, but our material things govern the choices that we make when it concerns the interaction with other human beings. I think we will all be faithful in being true disciples of Jesus. Peace be with you, and I will see you again soon.